I the butthole for canceling our anniversary trip because my parents needed me? My wife and I have been planning a dream trip to Bali for months. It is our 5th anniversary and we haven't had a real vacation in years. Flights, hotels, the whole shebang. Everything was booked and paid for. We were both incredibly excited. Then, a week before our trip, my mom called. She's 62 and my father is 65. They've been struggling financially for a while, but they're too proud to ask for help. This time, their car died, their only means of transportation. They live in a small town with limited public options, and repairs wouldn't be cheap. I knew they wouldn't be able to manage. They wouldn't outright ask, but the desperation in my mom's voice told me everything. So I told my wife we needed to postpone the trip. She was devastated. We'd been looking forward to it for so long, and the money wasn't exactly easy to come by. She argued that we could use the credit on the flights later, but replacing their car would eat into our savings significantly. We had a huge fight. She called me selfish for putting my parents first over our anniversary trip. I told her it was important to help them out, especially since they'd never ask. She said we could have figured something else out, maybe a loan or a smaller car, but the idea of them being stranded just felt wrong. Ultimately, I cancelled the trip. I used the money to buy them a reliable used car. They were incredibly grateful, but my wife still called towards me. She says I ruined our anniversary and that I prioritize my parents over her. Am I the butthole for helping my struggling parents, even if it meant sacrificing our trip? I have two options here. Either you have some kind of trauma connected to your parents and you need to serve them, or your parents are manipulating you because you did way more than you were asked. Why not listen to your wife? If you wanted to help your parents, amazing. Well, you really can get them a cheaper car or a smaller car and maybe pay for a repairment of their existing car, but not just canceling the anniversary trip that you both, I guess, paid for and you both were looking forward to. I cannot even imagine how your wife feels now. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Am I the butthole for behaving like a child on a stranger's wedding? So my partner got invited to a colleague's wedding and I was his +1. He asked me if I'd really want to come since I didn't know anyone there and I have social anxiety issues. But I wanted to join him because I kinda like weddings. We went there, I was introduced briefly to some of my partner's colleagues who were there as well, and after dinner he engaged in a conversation with them. I didn't really know what to do since I felt left out and my phone had died in the meantime. My ADHD took me to the children's corner where there were coloring books and pencils. My partner caught me coloring a bouquet of flowers and told me that I was embarrassing him in front of his colleagues and that I should stop. I should come dance with them instead. But I hated the music and I did not feel comfortable showing off my questionable dancing skills. So I kept drawing. 2 coloring book pages later, they were gone. And when they didn't come back, I went outside to look for my partner, but he was nowhere near the venue and it was too cold outside for me to go any further. My jacket was in the car and he had the key. At 1 a.m. I had finished coloring the entire book and he was still gone. Everyone else was drunk and the music had gotten better. So I pretended to be drunk as well and entered the empty dance floor, mindlessly spinning around until I felt dizzy. When he came back, he was angry with me for behaving so childish and embarrassing him in front of his colleagues and everyone else for the entire evening. He usually wants to keep work stuff and private stuff separated, and apparently this wedding counted as work stuff for him, so he didn't really want me there, which I was aware of. I still joined him and then complained about being neglected. So, am I the butthole? Yes, you are. I understand that you may have special needs and that is totally okay, but you also have to respect your partner. And if you are not comfortable being there, you have to communicate it to your partner and maybe ask him to drive you home, call you a taxi. Am I the butthole for asking my daughter to share her money? I have 4 daughters, 29, 23, 16, and 15-year-old. My oldest works a good job and does a side hustle, so she makes really good money for her age. My 23-year-old chose not to go to college. She didn't want to have to do chores and other work at home. She moved out last year and we gave her $25,000, which was her college fund. Unfortunately, rent costs a lot here, so we have to help her out with food, water, expenses pretty often. The $25K was gone in a year. We have to spend lots of money on her so she can afford her life as she doesn't really want to work. My husband isn't able to work much anymore due to health issues, and I can no longer afford to support my 23-year-old with my salary. My oldest daughter lives in a pretty rich state and makes quite over $100,000 per year, although she lives in a pretty high cost of living area. This is more than what I make. So I asked my oldest if she could give some money to support her sister. She doesn't want to, as it'll be expensive and she wants to save on a house. But I really want her to, as it'll help her sister a lot. My older daughter told me to tell my youngest to work and not freeload of everyone else. I told her she was being selfish and asked her to pay at least $2,000 per year, and I would ask my 23-year-old to get a part-time job. But she still refused. I think it's selfish of her to put buying a house over helping her sister. She says she'll be willing to help her sister look for a job and to give her $500 a month, not any more than that. I did ask for my daughter to get a part-time job, but she doesn't want to. Now my oldest is upset I'm trying to use her and that I'm spoiling my 23-year-old because she had to work and go to college, but I told her I changed my parenting style. She's still upset. So, am I the butthole? I think there was a mistake in the post because OP asked her oldest daughter to give $2,000 per month, not per year. And the daughter has only agreed to give $500 per month. So I think there was a mistake. But as for being a butthole, oh my god, yes. Your daughter is not responsible for your other children. You are. Well, she's 23, so you're not responsible anymore. She is. Your other daughter is responsible for herself. Let it go. Am I the butthole for calling a girl overdramatic when she was crying after rear-ending me? Last weekend, I attended my brother's college graduation. After the ceremony, I found the rear of my truck had been hit. The other driver was still there. She was an 18-year-old who was crying hysterically while her mom tried to calm her down. The girl apologized profusely and said she had overestimated how much room she had to the back out and hit my car. I wasn't upset because mistakes happen. I asked if she had insurance and she was too worked up to answer. So I turned to her mom and she said yes, they would go get it as well as call the police so there could be an official report for the insurance company. Cool? The girl was still really worked up. I told her it's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm not upset and accidents happen. She's still a mess when the cops show up. I found this a little overdramatic and admittedly rolled my eyes. I obviously don't know this girl, but it was beginning to feel like she was trying to manipulate her way out of trouble, even though the cop and I both said these things happen and that the insurance would likely take care of it. Eventually, the police left. I told the girl to calm down, it's over, and stop being dramatic. Then I got in my car and was ready to leave. My sister was with me the whole time. She told me I was unnecessarily mean to the girl. I said she was being overdramatic for no reason, especially as no one yelled at her the entire time. My sister pointed out this girl is likely a new driver, probably worried she ruined whoever she was there to celebrate, etc. Plus, she's probably worried about her rates going up, or maybe she has anxiety or whatever. Even if she was trying to manipulate with tears, I didn't have to be a prick. I shrugged it off and let it go. So far, her insurance had been cooperative, and it seems this will all be resolved rather quickly. The subject came up at the party we had for my brother. Most of my family thought that I was being a prick, though some agreed she needed to calm down. Am I the butthole? You're not necessarily the butthole in this situation, but I think that you could have behaved differently. Because can you imagine being 18-year-old with your mom in the car and you get in the car accident. For a 18-year-old, it could feel like the end of the world. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can also watch that awesome video or this awesome playlist. See you next time!